Hello, welcome to my live stream. Today is Friday the 15th of May and it's 6 p.m. UK time. For those who don't know me yet, I'm a therapist and coach. I come here in my free time to give advice, recommendations and suggestions and talk about anything you'd like me to talk about related to mental health, therapy, psychology, human behavior, mindset, emotional intelligence, mindfulness, any and all of those things that can help us have a better system to navigate through our life with. So if you have any questions you'd like to ask me at any time, just do. And as soon as I have something written, I will start to interact with you. If you're wondering what this is, um, it's a 24-hour blood pressure monitor. So um, that's why I'm wearing this as well. I'm going through all sort of tests in regards to my physical health, and this is one of them. It just happened to be what I was meant to be having today. So it's just kind of coinciding with the live stream. And so maybe I can read some of my own posts and comment on them until I have um, some comments from you. And the first one that I'm going to read goes like this. I think I've read it last time, but I'm going to read it again. There are two types of people who cause all the problems in this world. Number one are the people who lack empathy. They are the narcissist, the psychopath, those in power, those who decide the laws, those who hold the resources and control the narrative. Number two are the people who lack education and information, and they're the ones who get easily manipulated by the people with no empathy. And this is pretty much the simplified reason as to why all problems are happening in this world. It is as simple as that. And so what is the solution to that? On one hand, we need to learn and understand more about mental health so that we can um, kind of see in childhood who has some predisposition of lacking empathy. And we can create a system that will teach empathy from the younger age. And also, if we could maybe not give position of power to people who lack empathy, that could be a good thing. Unless we've done their work and we have developed some level of cognitive empathy. Okay, let me read the first comment we've got. Jack, hello, ahoy, Raskolnikov, hi beautiful, hello, thank you. Is there anything you'd like me to talk about today? Um, I've been thinking about changing the way I do things, and I can maybe read to you the the draft that I have about my next long form video. I don't know if it's going to happen, but I'm planning to try to organize to resume my production of long form video, but I do it in slightly different ways. I want to be more natural, just me. Basically, I don't want to read scripts anymore. I want to have just some key points and then go live, like I'm doing on the live streams. I believe that it's time for me to finally embrace a little bit more of authenticity, vulnerability, and you know, stop trying to be perfect like we all do by reading things by heart. Um, let me see if there's any more. Student 2K, you are so perfect. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, I love you. I love you from Emmanuel. Oh, I love you too. Thank you. Jack, yeah, sure. Student, I need to go for a bit. When does the live end? I will rejoin. I don't know. It depends on whether it's busy or not. I will do my best to last up till 8 o'clock. It's 6 o'clock now, so it's 2 hours when it just started. But if it's quiet, I may finish before. However, I come back every Wednesdays and every Wednesdays from 6 p.m. UK time. So you can always catch me on another one if there's something that you would like me to talk about. Okay? Um, Mari said hi. Hello. So the things that I wanted to talk about in my next long form videos, the next one, is about some of the common myths about healing and growth, but actually problematic. They create more harm than not. Um, And so I come up with four. I don't know if I'm going to add more, but at this point in time, there are four misconceptions, problematic advice that people give when it comes to healing and growth and self-development. The first one is that you need self-discipline. And I don't believe that anyone needs self-discipline. What we need is self-encouragement. Um, Self-discipline is trying to force and maintain focus by creating some pressure from the outside in. So we're creating tension and pressure. And tension and pressure is what makes things harder, especially if your mind has been trying to protect you from the fear of failure. Um, and so self-encouragement, on the other hand, taps into your inner self. I'm reading my script. It doesn't add pressure from the outside. It's something that comes from the inside out. It's lifting you up. It recognizes that there's a part of you that needs to be acknowledged, comforted, and supported before you can move on towards your goals. Um, Forcing yourself to do something when your nervous system is screaming no hurts you and reinforces toxic emotional repression. Self-encouragement, on the other hand, does the opposite. It helps you soothe, heal, and grow. It helps your inner being seen, feeling safe, and develop a state of flow and ease. And so basically, we want to replace self-discipline with self-encouragement. Now, of course, some people may say, for me, it worked. And again, we're all different. And it's true that it may work for some people in some capacity, but because it works for some people, doesn't mean that it's something that will work for everyone. So we don't want to give people the wrong idea that it's a system that will work for everyone. And all you need to do is try harder and to have some self-discipline, because that can harm many of us. Number two, the second myth when it comes to healing and growth is that you need to forgive in order to heal. I talk about this quite often. And basically, the way that I see it is that you don't need to forgive in order to heal. You can. And ideally, if you can forgive the people who hurt you, it's the best position you can be in. However, it's not something that you decide. It's not something that you choose. We don't choose to forgive. Forgiveness is not a doing. It is a happening. It is the result, the byproduct, the consequence of us having heard and being finally in a state, in a position to forgive naturally, without any effort. And so this is about self-righteousness, essentially, and about empathy. We need to realize that we're all different. And it's true that forgiving, if we can do this, it's a fantastic thing to do. But telling people that they must forgive is harmful, because it comes from a place of egocentrism and projection. We can't force an emotion, we can only force a thought. So we can force ourselves to forgive cognitively. But if our heart hasn't found closure from those people who hurt us, now we're going to create some discrepancy between those two minds. And it is the discrepancy that creates all of our suffering. Premature forgiveness. Premature forgiveness is called toxic forgiveness for a reason, because it reinforces the cycle of shame. And shame and fear are the two things that we want to address first if you want to heal from anyone that has hurt us. And of course, some people will say, but forgiveness is something that you do for yourself, not for them. And it's very true. But if you tell others that they must forgive, you are ignoring their personal inner state. And it will come across as you dismissing, diminishing, minimizing, and invalidating their emotional experience, which will create more harm than good, despite your best and purest intentions. And so remember, empathy matters. Self-righteousness sucks. People forgive if and when they're ready to forgive, and if they never do, it's also okay. Number three, the third myth that creates the most problems to all of us who are trying to heal and grow is that you need to take responsibility for the things that you have done. And it's a tricky one, because a lot of people don't have enough mental flexibility to get this yet. But the truth of the matter is that you don't need to take responsibility for the things that you have done, because saying this implies that there was a choice in the first place. And this is not true. When we're going through a daily routine, there's no choice, no free will. We just do whatever our emotional subconscious mind dictates us to do based on who we are, based on our program. And so we want you to be kind to ourselves and realize that whatever I did or whatever I didn't do is what was meant to happen. I didn't have a choice then. If I could have chosen something else, I would have, but I didn't have a choice. Now we can work on that program, we can upgrade it before and after an event occurs. But for 95% of the time, when we are caught into the momentum of our lives, we are on an automatic pilot and we don't have any input into what we do. We're just reacting to the program that we have installed so that we could navigate through that life. Um, Free will only occurs when we're out of that momentum. Free will only occurs when we are reflecting on ourselves, when we are no longer caught up into the rush of our day-to-day movements, interacting with people, thinking about the things that we have to do, uh, carrying our worries and anxieties. But for the vast majority of us, we won't have access to our free will because we don't even have an awareness that there is such thing as a subconscious program running every single one of our actions, emotions, feelings, thought, and interpretation of reality. Some of us will never have access to free will. Some of us will have maybe 5% access of free will because when we are interacting with the world, we're just doing what we are supposed to be doing. Again, there's no program. But when we reflect, when we work on ourselves, it is that 5%. And the other fallacy about believing that we need to take responsibility for the things that we have done is not only that there's a false there's a false idea that we had a choice then, but also that we have a choice now. It's as if we're choosing not to be better. We're choosing not to change. We're choosing to stay the same person doing the bad things. And there's no choice again. We change when and if we are ready to change. We're limited by that program that is emotional. And for many of us, we resist that at first because at a subconscious level, there's a part of us that doesn't want us to change because it doesn't feel safe trying a new system. And so it's about understanding the subconscious mind and understanding all of those things about ourselves and others as well. And so instead of telling yourself that you must take responsibility for the things that you have done, which creates shame and self-loathing, you need to give yourself grace and self-compassion for not knowing any better back then, for not being in a position to create a space between yourself and your actions just yet. Some people can, some people cannot. If you can't, it's because you don't know yet how to do it. Um, Many of us also suffer from trauma, have some baggage, some unhealed wounds. Because of that, our brain is more reactive than others. It's not our fault. We didn't choose the trauma. We didn't choose to have any conditions at all. So it's important to be kind and open-minded and have empathy. Um, and again, some people will say, but it's easy for me. You should choose to to have uh, an intellectual response instead of an emotional reaction. Not only the lack of empathy and understanding of psychology, because if they can, it's because they can. But if some other people can't, it's because they cannot. They never had that choice. They don't have it yet. But not only they suffer from profound lack of understanding of human psychology and lack of empathy, but also they probably, most probably say that because they're projecting their own fears and wounds over others. So what it means is that they should be practicing grace and self-compassion to start with. And finally, number 4, there may be more, I don't know, it's just out of my head. The fourth myth about healing and personal development will be that you must try harder. And you don't need to try harder. We live in a society that glorifies hardship. And hardship has a place and time, but it's not the recipe for success. And the reason why I'm saying this is because I know that you are trying your best already, every day, just like the whole of us. And as long as you keep going, your best will always be good enough. Why would anyone believe that someone is choosing not to do their best every day? Why? What does that mean? It's because of some old dogma born from religious manipulation into the fact that there's something wrong about us. We're wicked, we're evil, we're malicious, we're not trying hard enough, we're lazy, we're stupid, we're weak. I know those things and more, and it's just ridiculous. We're all doing our best with whatever we've been given. We never we never chosen anything about our upbringing, our environment, our genetics, and so we're all doing our best already. Our emotional mind creates our reality. Our ego tells us that we create our reality. So we're back into that conversation about choice and free will in an illusion. And so instead of burying yourself under more stress, pressure, and shame by trying to try harder, accept that although you can absolutely experience accelerations every now and then in your personal journey, um, this is where you are at this point in time in your journey. And it's okay because you're already doing your best, and your best is good enough because life is the journey of us doing our best. So that's it. What do you think about this, guys? Let me go through the comments now. Is there any? Merit. Hi, Emmanuel. Thank you. Lifestyle chat. Hello, Didi. How are you today? Why do you have this pouch bag hanging around your neck? It looks a bit comical. It's a 24-hour blood pressure monitor. So it's a machine that monitors every half an hour or hour at night is going to blow to measure my blood pressure and then record it in the machine. That's it. I'm not sure why it looks comical, but fair enough. Yes, I do sort of test on my health at the moment. I'm getting to that stage, to that age. I need to be extra careful, and this is annoying me. Anyway, yes, looking after myself. I'm realizing that all my life, all my second part of life, when I started to take action about my physical and mental health, I was very arrogant. I believed that because I've learned so much about my health, I would be invincible somehow. But we don't realize that there's so many aspects of us, and there's also a lot of unsolved problems that only manifest themselves at a later stage in our life. So now I'm finding out that there's some stuff about myself that I have never addressed, and it's time for me to address them. It was out of my radar. I didn't even know that they were there. Can you hear me well, guys? I've been talking about my bits and bobs for like 18 minutes. I hope that you can hear me clearly. Otherwise, that would have been a little bit of a waste of breath, time, and energy. I'm going to have a little bit of my coffee. And again, I'm happy to stick for as long as 8 o'clock. However, if I don't get any questions, I will resume my day. I'll come back some other time. Okay. What do you guys, if you are subscribed to my channel, get from my channel already? And what would you like me to talk about more, perhaps? Is there anything you'd like me to change about the way I do things? I do short videos and live streams, and I'm about to resume my long form videos as well, hopefully sometime next week. If there's any suggestion from you, please do tell, and I will take every single feedback in consideration. I'm gonna wait a couple of minutes, and if I don't get any interaction from you guys, I just chill with my blood pressure monitor, and I'll come back sometime next week. Okay. I can read some posts that I've written, some script. Here's one. If you see yourself as a warrior, You will experience life like a battlefield. If you see yourself as a gardener, you will experience like life like an ecosystem for you to figure out, belong to, and thrive in. Now, a lot of people say it's better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener at war. And this only means one thing: those people are still held by fear. They have a fear mindset that is preventing them to evolve from a protective mindset to a creator's one. Because we're talking about your personal inner journey. We're not talking about the external life. It's about inside of you. So what it means is that indeed there are wars in this world. There's a lot of horror, terrible things happening. But it's more about how you see yourself in this life. Do you see yourself like a warrior? You will create a battlefield for you, for yourself. Do you see yourself like a gardener? You have something to cherish and nurture instead. And even if it was like the hypothesis that there was a war, um, in a war, people must realize that there are all sorts of people involved. Not everyone is a warrior. You need some nurses and doctors to heal people. You need people to create things, to keep things together, to run stuff. There are all sorts of people that are needed, and so it's not about it's not about how can I phrase this? It is about finding out who we are, and who we are will have its best role and function whether we're at war or in a garden. Um, hope it makes sense. This is very often born from toxic masculinity. Oh, you must be tough, and it's not like that. If you are naturally inclined to be a soldier and you love all things to do with war, fair enough, this is your thing. But it's not something that I want to preach because we're all very different. And this is one of the reasons why so many men unalive themselves all the time because they're under pressure. They must be strong, they must be a man, they must be protect and defend, and they're creating all of this stress and pressure unnecessarily. There are many ways to address adversity and challenges in life. You don't have to be a warrior. Okay, let me see. Lifestyle chat. Oh, I see. Okay, lifestyle chat. Yes, important to look after health as we get more mature. Indeed. Lifestyle chat. I'm eating now my dinner: rice with cod, fish, and salad. Sounds nice. Bon appetit to you. Hi go, hi go, hi. Yes, adorable words like you, dear Didi. Nice to see you. Thank you so much. Gosh, everyone is finding me adorable today. That's lovely. Thank you, guys. um, I don't know what else to say. Maybe that's it for today. um, let me carry on with some of the script that I've written, maybe. So that gives us a few more minutes, give more people a chance to maybe see if they have something to ask me. Here's one. Some abusers genuinely don't remember abusing the victims because to them it wasn't abuse, it was normal. The people who had no empathy for you never saw their actions as cruel. They only saw your behavior as weak, pathetic, and deserving of punishment and contempt. So it's quite important to realize if we have suffered from people. We have an idea of what happened because we are seeing things from our perspective. From their perspective, it's very different. So very often we expect for some people who have hurt us in the past to apologize. But many of them don't even realize that they have hurt us. So yeah, we must tell them that they have hurt us first. Um, Another one similar to that sort of topic. If your children want no contact with you, it's not because of what you did to them. It is because you have shown no sign of genuine remorse. You have not shown any sign of accountability or desire to change. In other words, the problem is not what you did to them in the past. The problem is that you are still the same person who hurt them now, and no one wants those sort of people in their life. Different way to look at things. A lot of people say, my kids want no contact, a bunch of snowflakes, what's wrong with them? And they don't realize that the more we do that, the more we are showcasing, displaying the very reason why no one wants to see them. because they have not changed. People cannot forgive someone who is still hurting them. Um, I'm getting bored of reading my own post. I'm sorry, but I'm just going to wait a couple of minutes, and if I don't have any interaction from you guys, it's okay. But because I'm carrying this, it's a bit annoying. I carry on with my day, and I come back sometime next week. However, if you want to ask me something, it's your chance. Take that chance. Petra, how do I? Okay, fantastic. Yes. How do I recognize that he's just too sensitive and not toxic? Okay. So whether someone is toxic or not depends on many parameters. No one is inherently fundamentally toxic to everyone. Some people are toxic to some people within a certain configuration. So this is what we must first realize. And then, too sensitive. Many of us are sensitive. And when we say too sensitive, it means that we are not able to do certain things like other people. We're not able to deliver or to behave the way some people expect us to behave like. But in reality, we're all sensitive in a different level, different ways, and there's nothing wrong. There's no such thing as being too sensitive. There's only too sensitive within an expectation. Right? And so let me read and try to understand your question. If you can give me more details, that would be useful. How do I recognize that he's just too sensitive and not toxic? You need to give me an example. What happened? So I can understand what you mean. Because there could be anything at all. But there are two ideas here that are very important to bear in mind. The first one is that no one is inherently fundamentally toxic to everyone. Some people may do or say something that is toxic to you, but that is not toxic to someone else, or that is not toxic to you at some other moment, other time. So everything is contextual. And then sensitive, um, we are all sensitive in various degree, so we need to understand what happened. I think I'm starting to have an idea of what you mean as I'm talking. Um, you correct me if I'm wrong, but is it that perhaps he reacted in a way that hurt you, but you don't know if he reacted because he was overwhelmed or because he wants to hurt your feelings, right? So if that's the case, I still need you to give me an example, please, so that I can use that example precisely and we have something to visualize. Petra. Hi Yoga said hi, hello. Petra, he stopped to write to me after I got too emotional. Um, so if you are hurt by him because he stopped writing to you, because you show a lot of emotions towards him, there could be millions of reasons as to why he did it. And there are tons of reasons as why he would do it that doesn't imply him wanting to hurt your feelings. Um, so what I'd say to you, the best thing to do is to do what you can, write to him, try to connect with him. But if he's not writing back to you, accept that there could be all sort of things. Maybe something to happen to him. Maybe he has a lot of other urgent, urgent priorities. Um, there could be so many different reasons as to why. It's not necessarily because of you. And even if it was to do with you, uh, he would have his own reason as to why he didn't do that. And so, in other words, don't take things personally as best as you can. Do what you can, and then move on with your life, and do your best not to think too much about it. If you think about it, it's because there's a part of you that is being reminded about something about yourself through that interaction. So again, no, we can't talk about this, but we need to know a bit more about yourself. If you can give me more details. Do you often suffer from those sort of situations? Has it happened in the past? Um, do you struggle with your relationship? Is it a pattern? And what do you mean by you've got too emotional? Did you get angry or did you get too overwhelming to him because you were too loving or expressing your love too much? Petra, thank you. Okay, so something that I said hit the mark. Thank you. But if you want me to talk more about it, to ask, just give me more details because at the moment I'm just having some wild guess just based on few words that you have shared with us. And I would like to help more if I could. Dawn, hi Didi. Hello, Dawn. A part of that one comment from Petra, it's been very quiet so far. So again, if you wanted me to ask me anything, I would appreciate. If not, again, I'll come back some other time. Okay. I'm thinking about changing the way I do things, and I'm not sure how I'm going to apply this in the live streams. But I like to do it slightly differently. I feel like sometimes I'm just waiting, like begging for people to ask me things, and I don't know if it's something that I want to carry doing. Petra, I got angry because he wrote me only once per week, but deep and long mails. I got angry because of that. You get angry because he wrote to you only once per week. Um, did you agree to write more? What I'd say is that I don't know what to say about this. It's a tricky one. Um, in a relationship, we have a lot of expectations, and we suffer because of our expectations. What we should do is to learn how to appreciate the moments that we are sharing with people and develop the skill of non-attachment. If you expect someone to do certain things and that person doesn't do what you expect them to do, you will suffer. But you will only suffer from your own expectations. So now someone's going to say, but how can you not expect things? And it's true that it's hard because we're all conditioned to do so. And that's why I call this a skill, the skill of non-attachment. Realizing that people are not there for us. We're all here to live our life. And if we are aligned with someone else, we will connect with them and we'll share some time and experience with them for some period of time. And at some point, we will no longer be aligned and we will separate, and it's okay because we have shared some moments and we will do that with everyone all throughout our lives. People are not there to belong to us. We don't own people, people don't own us. We're there to share experiences with them. And so we want to really try our best to communicate, to be clear as to how we are and what we like. And if things go well, it's good. And if not, we must let go because not every single relationship are meant to last or to function. Um, Relationships are there for us to grow as human beings through our interactions with others. Um, and so, yes, we want to stop expecting if someone was meant to do something and they're not doing it, just tell them, you know what, I feel hurt because I thought what we should be doing this. And depending on how they respond, then you can tell them, you know what, it doesn't work. Or maybe I understand, it's okay, let's try our best next time. It depends. Does it help, Petra? Is that what you meant to ask, or do you want to give me more details? Dawn, my half sister had bipolar and actually tried to strangle me. It really affected me. Okay, we can talk about this if you want. It does happen. With bipolar, we can go into states where we are totally irrational and over energetic, and we end up doing stupid things. I've done many of them myself, including trying to unalive myself, including acts of violence, aggression. Um, and so, yeah, I get it. Um, if it has affected you, you need to realize that your half sister has a condition and she may do it again. So it's on you to make sure that you decide, am I ready to see her or not? Because it's not for you to change her, it's her job to do. But if she doesn't change, if she's not ready, then maybe it's easier for you not to see her, or not that much, or not in that way, maybe in different ways. Uh, and if you can do this now, you will not be affected that much by what happened to you, because you have created a system to know how to deal with that situation. If you keep seeing her and she keeps trying to strangle you, you will always live in a state of anxiety. It's going to affect you indeed, right? Anyone would. But if you take an action and say, you know what, I understand that she's like that, she didn't mean that. However, I don't want to be strangled. I don't want people to throw things in my face, to shout at me, or to be horrible to me, or to attack me. And so prioritize yourself, your well-being, your happiness. And if you can do something to help her out and that's what you want, then do whatever you can. But don't expose yourself to too much that you can't handle. And by doing this, that will give you some sense of control over your life. I'm choosing to do this. I'm setting my boundaries. I'm protecting myself. I'm taking that choice. Me first, self first. Jonathan, can I get a shout out for my bro? Jonathan, you're very naughty. You're very naughty. Naughty boy. Please don't. I'm going to leave you for now because I believe that you may learn something, maybe, on one of the live stream. But this is a place for mental health. I'm here to help people out, so please be kind. And if you want to ask me anything, you're more than happy to ask me. Hi, Yoga. Thank you, thank you. Dawn, you're right, Didi. It's hard. We can't change people. No. People will change, but we can't change others. And also, a lot of people say people don't change. And it's not true. We do all change in some capacity all throughout our lives. When people say people don't change, it's because they don't change like the way you would like them to change. That's it. But we do all change. And so, we must accept that your half sister will change all throughout her life. But how she will change is not down to us. It's not down to you. It's not down to me. It's down to millions of things all occurring at the same time. And so I want to wish her the best of luck. But do what you can and don't put yourself into position of danger. Thank you for the emojis. Dawn, thanks, Tilly. Thank you, Dawn. But we do all change. And for some of us, the changes, again, will not be visible from the outside because people are looking at certain aspects of us. They don't realize that there are other aspects of us that are changing. But if we can realize this about ourselves, it's already a good thing because we're realizing that change is inevitable anyway. So I might as well try to direct my change in the direction that helps me, that works for me. The problem with many is that they believe that nothing can change. So by accepting that change is universal and inevitable, that already helps. Change is not hard. It is facing the unknown that is difficult. Change is happening all the time. It's just that some change happen without the input of our consciousness. Dawn, my ex would drink every weekend from Friday to Sunday and get abusive. He never tried to change. It's not that he didn't try to change. You don't know. You don't know this about him. We assume that because we see things from the outside and we come to a hasty conclusion. But maybe he really wanted to change, but he didn't know how to. He was overwhelmed. Maybe he had some trauma, some baggage, some nightmares, some flashbacks. He just couldn't. We don't know. And if we tell them, "Oh, you must change," and now they're seeing us as the enemy, so it's adding more pressure, and it's harder for them to change. And so I don't believe that no people don't want to change. People are scared to change, but we all want to get better. Think about it. There's not a single person who is choosing. If you have the choice, do you choose to be happy or do you choose to suffer? Do you choose to be kind to others or do you choose to be horrible to others? If you have the choice, would you choose that? No, no one chooses that. What we choose, what comes across as our choice is limited by how we feel about ourselves, by our limiting belief, by our emotional triggers, by our unhealed trauma, all of those things. Yeah? And that's why I know that it's difficult to get our head around this. It took me a lifetime to understand this, but we are raised in a culture where we are judging others and judging ourselves all the time instead of understanding. We are all trying our best. We really all are. No one is never trying to change. It's just that they don't know how to. They're overwhelmed. It's just too much. They suffer from that. They hate that. I remember when I was still suffering from my own stuff. I hated myself. I would have changed everything in my life, but I just couldn't. And I knew that it was going to happen again, and I knew that I would hate myself again, but I just could not. It was impossible. I didn't have a choice. And it's the same with everyone else. And at some point, I was lucky to be able to move on to the next level, and over many, many years, this is who I am now. But not everyone will have the luck that I had. Not everyone will have um, the ability to change in a way like I did. Um, we must not judge them. It would be similar to telling people that some people unalive themselves because they are selfish. They have chosen this. They have not chosen that. No one chooses to unalive themselves. They're just overwhelmed. They can't bear the pain anymore. The analogy that I often use is like if you are on the top of a building that is on fire and you end up jumping, you're not jumping because you're selfish, because you're choosing to jump. You're jumping because the flame are burning you and you can't stand it anymore. You have no other options but to jump. Does it make sense, Dawn? I know that you don't come from a bad place. I was the same. I used to believe the same thing like all of us. But my point here, my job, my mission is to really open people's mind and heart so that we can realize that no one chooses not to change. We're all the victim of the big lottery of the universe. I hope you agree with me, Dawn. Camilla, best wishes, Didi. Thank you, Dawn. But you have done well, and you have tried to change, and you have done well. But this is luck. This is absolute luck. Again, it's not down to my character. This is a fallacy. We need to stop believing. It's like again saying that some people unalive themselves, and some others like me. I try to unalive myself, but I'm still here. So I'm brave. I'm strong. No, I'm not strong. I'm not brave. I'm not better than those who didn't manage to stay alive. Not at all, because that would imply that they were weak, they were a coward, and I don't believe that. I understand what it was to be in their shoes. It's just a matter of luck. That's it. For all of us. And so, what can we do? We can do our best to be someone else's luck. That's what we can do. Do you drink now? If you don't mind me asking. No, I don't drink at all. Zero. Not a single drop. No drugs, no alcohol, nothing that alters my mental clarity. Um, there was a time when I stopped drinking where I was still having a little bit of booze every now and then. Birthday, New Year's Eve, Glastonbury, because I thought that it was part of the package. If you go out, if you go to parties, if you do certain things, there should be a little bit of alcohol. But then I realized, no, it doesn't have to be. We can do whatever we want. I can have a glass of sparkling water, a cup of tea, and I do that now. And yes, I now that I understand that alcohol doesn't do anything good at all. The only one thing that I miss is sometimes there's some recipes, some culinary, gastronomic experiences that involves alcohol that I don't have anymore. But if that happens, let's say if I have a tiramisu or something like that, it's got a little bit of alcohol, I will have it. It's no problem at all. But what I'm trying to say is that I don't drink alcohol anymore in an amount that would affect my physical health. It's extremely rare when I have anything that has a hint of alcohol. Because I understand that I don't need it anymore. A lot of us, we find it difficult to stop drinking because we believe that um, I'm going to be a weirdo. I can't socialize with my friends anymore. And the reality is that if they can't accept you as someone who doesn't drink alcohol anymore, you should choose other friends. Because they're trying to hold you back into some habits that are harming you and them as well. Jenny on the Hill. I love this man's unwavering compassion. All right. Thank you, Jenny on the Hill. Thank you. Dawn, I hear hoarding is a mental health condition. Yes, it is. It is. When we are unable to let go of things because we have put so much emotional attachment and associations to the things that we have. There's an element of control, similar to OCD. I can do something so that overcomes some of my intrusive thoughts. But also, there's the idea that, let's say, very often we hoard things because they're connected to someone that is no longer here. So it's a way to stay connected with them, to still experience some elements of the past. Um, so yes, but again, it's a very broad and complicated topic. Uh, Valerie, it's okay, isn't it? What is okay? What are you having in mind, Valerie? Hoarding, drinking alcohol? Which topic are you talking about? Petra, how do I recognize addiction to someone and love to someone? Um, we don't get addicted to people. What we do get addicted to is some emotions that we have in our body. So basically, we get addicted to our internal biochemistry, and that can be in regards to people. So so we may feel excited or infatuated by someone when we think about them, when we are with them, and so what we are addicted to is the feelings and the emotions. So we'll find out why do I feel like that. But first, how do I recognize that I'm addicted to someone? In inverse comma, um, it's simple. Addiction is something that you know you're doing too much and you want to stop, and you tried to stop, but you can't stop. So that could be a general broad definition of addiction. It's not in clinical term. It's not like alcohol and drugs, but still, to me, it's the same. I'm trying to come from a place of being useful. And so, if you try to do something and you can't stop doing that thing, no, if you try to stop doing something because you know that it's not beneficial to your life, but you can't stop doing it, to me, I would categorize this as some sort of addiction, obsession, addiction. Um, and so yes, love is many things. So that's the confusing part. Of our history and all civilizations, tons of different explanation of what love should be. To me, love is an experience. It's an emotion. It's an energy. It's a moment. That's it. There's no recipe for love. It's something that you experience when it's there. You don't choose this, but it's still an emotion that you can give, but only if you have it. Right? If you don't have love inside of you, you cannot give what you haven't got. And so, how do you know that you love someone, or if you are addicted to them, as in infatuated, as in limerence with them? That'll be down to an element of flow. If you're with someone with whom you are aligned with in that moment, everything feels like it's coming together. It's logic, it feels right. And this is love that you're experiencing in this moment. But if you are experiencing a lot of happiness that are super high, and the next moment a lot of despair because they're not giving you that happiness back, they're not fulfilling your expectations, now it's not love. It's a roller coaster. And again, love has many faces, so passion is one of the faces of love. So it depends. It all depends. But generally speaking, to me, love is a moment, it's an energy, it's an experience that can be intense, that can be peaceful and quiet, and just safe, and very, yeah, very small. It doesn't have to be huge. All of those, love is a spectrum, right? Like that show, love, love is a spectrum. Although, yeah. So love is a spectrum. Happiness is a spectrum. Everything is a spectrum. If we are trying to nail precisely what is happiness, what is love, now we are going to be on a journey that is never ending. We're going to look in the wrong place, and we need to be very unhappy and hurt. And so, love is a happening that happens when and if we're aligned with someone for that moment. Nothing lasts forever. This is the other thing when it comes to joy, happiness, and love. We're disappointed because it doesn't stay forever. And we forget that nothing lasts forever. In this world, in our life, in this universe, nothing lasts forever. It's the one universal fundamental law of everything. Everything is constantly changing, evolving, moving, fluctuating, expanding. And so, yeah, um, does it help, Petra? Don't people also hoard pets? Some have loads. Yes, it's true. Um, dogs, cats. It happens. Don't I think some people get trauma bonded in toxic relationships? Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Um, if we have patterns of toxic relationships, it's because we keep on repeating trauma bonds because we still own those wounds from the past. Yes, I agree. Spiraxis, evening Didi. Good evening, Spiraxis. How are you doing? Anything you'd like me to talk about? This is annoying. If you see me moving, it's because I don't like this. Again, for some of us who are neurodivergent, again, it depends, but sometimes, depending on my state, clothes, things like that can be really irritating. Labels can drive me mad. So this is not so great right now. Um, Spiraxis, is there anything you'd like to chat about today? And if anyone is wondering, again, this is a 24-hour blood pressure monitor. To find out if my heart is all right or not. Christine, it's hard to accept that nothing lasts forever. Everyone we care about will die. Yes, it's hard as long as we haven't managed to get into that different state of mind. As long as we look at things from the position of the human being, of the ego, of the self, of the I, we're going to want for other things in our life to stay with us forever. And this is normal, it's the human experience, this is what humans want. However, if we can learn how to experience life from the position of the observer every now and then, and realize that everything is finite, nothing lasts forever, then now things start to change. Because we are no longer seeing things from the position of the human. We can accept sometimes we suffer from our humanity, and it's okay. It's part of our experience. But sometimes also we can look at the bigger picture and realize that the very thing that makes anything precious and beautiful is that it's finite. If your life was going on forever, if there was no end to life, we'd do nothing. Everything would become boring and we would have no urgency because we have unlimited time. So nothing will be of any value. And it's the same thing with people. If people were with us forever up to the end, we wouldn't appreciate the value of them. Losing them exists so that we can understand, appreciate the full value of love. Uh, because now we may be hurt when they leave us, but then they're reminding us of the immense luck and privilege that we had to share time with them when they were alive. We have the memories, we have grown, there's a part of them in us. And also, before we go, that tells us to reminds us to make the most of every moment that we have together, instead of taking people for granted and then being surprised, oh, they're gone. Now I never get a chance to tell them what I really wanted to tell them. And so, yes, everything, the fact that things don't last forever. Just 1 second, please. The fact that everything is finite is only painful as long as we're looking at this from the position of the human. But if you can zoom out and realize, I always knew that it was going to end up at some point. We all know this. Everything ends up, everything changes, and is part of the cycle of change. For something to be born, something must die, and vice versa. Uh, so instead of thinking just birth and death, think about cycle. Um, I was thinking about it. I was watching an interview from Ian McKellen, and I was saying how before and after death, there's nothing. And this is what I used to believe, and this is what a lot of people believe, and I don't agree with that. How do we know? We don't. I believe that there is always something, but we don't know what it is. And so, for me, when we are born, it's like waking up from a dream. And when we die, we fall asleep, and then we're going to wake up somewhere else, somewhere, sometime, and somewhere else. And that's it. How do you know that there's nothing? when you know, because we're observing things again from our perspective of the human, but not from the perspective of the person that is experiencing something different. And if anything, a lot of near-death experiences have all shown the same things. People are sharing the same kind of feedback of their near-death experience, and there is something. What is down to our own personal choice of belief, but there is something. And so nothing lasts forever in its state, in the state that it is, but everything changes in different ways. If I come to the end of my life, me as Didi Khan, as a person, I will no longer be here, but my energy will go back, like if I'm being buried, we go back into the ground, into the soil, into the trees, that will convert into other things. Energy keeps on changing in chemistry, and in the law of thermodynamic. Nothing is lost, nothing is created. Things are just changing infinitely, consistently and continuously. And so it's about changing the perspective we look at things from. How it makes sense. It's like, the analogy that I can use is, if you teach a child about the nature of impermanence, then it will be easier for you to see things from the position of the observer. Because in reality, when we are overwhelmed by life and by loss and by grief and all of those things, it's because in that moment we are in the position of the child. It's an emotional state. But if we can move up to the stage, to the position of the observer, to the adult, now we are seeing things from a rational perspective. So there's the child, there's the adult, and then there's the observer. To the child, the adult is the observer. But to the human, which encompasses both the adult and the child, the observer is being able to see things outside of the box. Does it make sense, Christine? What is your favorite book, Didi? I've got plenty of them. It depends. It depends on the days. It depends on the mood. It depends on the subject. There's a book for everything. I can tell you some books that are very popular that I love myself. So one of them would be The Little Prince, Le Petit Prince in French, which is a very important book for all the kids back in France. 1984 from George Orwell, very important to me. I don't know, there are a few, yeah. But also, I mean, mainly the books that I read now are about mental health, about mindset, about personal development, and those sort of things. Yeah, The Flew of a Cuckoo's Nest, very important book and movie. Dawn, they say you never know what you got till it's gone. So it's often the case. We do take things for granted. We only realize how valuable it was when it's gone. And one very simple example is health. Um, when we're healthy, we don't know that we're healthy. I mean, when we're young, right? And then we get ill, we break our limbs, and now it sucks. And then when we heal, we're like, gosh, it's so great to be healthy. So the older we get, the more aware we are of how good it is not to be ill, not to be in pain, not to be incapacitated. But it takes contrast for us to realize this. And it's the same thing with people. We take people for granted. But when they're no longer in our lives in any which way, that's when we're thinking, oh, shoot, I could have done that, I should have done that instead. But with experience, we get better at this, and we are more. I mean, not all of us, but those who have some level of self-awareness will be more careful about the people in our lives, because now we understand the value of them. And again, it's in that sense that the idea of things being finite is so important. Christine, that's helpful. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Christine. I'm glad it is. I believe that we will all accept at some point. For some of us, it may be on our last minute on this life, just before we check out. But at some point, we realize about the bigger picture. There's that story that people say, the things that you will regret on your deathbed, and I disagree with that. There may be some people who express that, but I do believe that the vast majority of us, if not all of us, we will experience an epiphany, and we'll understand things, even if it's at the very last moment of this life, so that we can never regret anything. Whatever we go through in our life is our life. We must accept that this is why we came here for that adventure, for that experience, for that exploration. And so, with that in mind, there's nothing about our life that is never wasted or wrong or bad. There's no bad choices. There's only a story. And as I always say, all stories are valid. That's it for now. Any more comments or questions from you guys? Foxy, hi. Hello, Foxy MC01 Grind. Hi. Oh, hello, Grind. I remember you. You taught me how to use my my stuff a bit better. Foxy, only just seen you. All right. Okay. If there's anything you'd like to talk about, hit me. Spiraxis, I'm well. Thanks. Have a good energy day. I hope that you're having a good Friday. Thank you so much. Same to you. Grind, I was here a few days ago. Yes, I remember. You told me 2 days ago. You told me how to block people, but I could block them during this live stream or permanently. But we could still see what I do. Just not able to share any comment. Grind, are you a Buddhist? No, I'm not. I appreciate Buddhism a lot. I appreciate a lot of different school of thoughts, but I don't label myself as anything. I love Taoism, I love Buddhism, I love Hinduism, I love spiritualism, I love all sorts of perspective. But the reason why I don't label myself as anything is because I don't want to follow any rules. I like to pick and mix whatever I believe works for me. And I believe that whatever I believe is my own choice. And this is how we should be doing this. Otherwise, this is how I see it. A spiritual journey is about us finding out what works for us. If we follow a doctrine, if we follow a group, if we follow a school of thought, it's not a spiritual journey. It's us wanting to belong to a group of people. So it's still very much a human experience. It's a tribal experience. And so there are things about Buddhism that I disagree with. Most of it I agree with, but there are some things that I don't really connect with, and it's okay. But it's true that amongst most things, Buddhism and Taoism are at the top in terms of amount of um, principles that I agree with. Petra, how should I get rid of fear of talking in front of people? It's quite a common problem. It depends. We're all very different. For some of us, it can be because of something very deep and profound. So for those people, addressing problems from the subconscious mind will be the solution. Typically through therapy, through hypnotherapy, finding out what it is that is creating that based on what happened to that person in the past is what those people can do. Now, there's something else that you can do, and I don't know if it's going to work for you. It depends, because I don't know you. Right? But at a superficial level, some of us can address this just by changing the way they look at themselves. And so what this means is that when you are doing a speech to people, the reason why you find it difficult maybe because you are asking yourself, what are they thinking about me? Do I look good? Do I look bad? Do I sound good? Do they like me? You are focusing on their judgment of you. And so the more you do this, if that's what you do, the harder it's going to be for you to speak, because now you are seeing yourself from their perspective, from the perspective of the people who are judging you, who are creating pressure. So what you can do is to shift that perspective and see things from your own perspective and tell yourself, I am going to do that gig, I'm going to do that chat, that talk, whatever it is, and I'm going to enjoy myself. I'm going to give them something. Um, I want to share something with them, and I don't care about the outcomes. It's about me. It's about me enjoying that moment. It's about me sharing the things that I like to talk about. It's about me learning how to do something new. Focus on yourself. Whatever it is, focus on yourself. This is me. This is what I'm doing, and I'm choosing to enjoy myself, um, as opposed to what are they thinking about me? Am I good enough? Uh, will they still like me after that? Are they going to mock me? Do I sound like stupid or whatever that you may think to yourself? So try this and see what happens. If this doesn't work, there are other things that you can do. But again, we're all vastly different. And for many of us, this is actually not the problem. For a lot of people, this is the symptom of a deeper root problem that is to do with lack of confidence, anxiety, trauma, not feeling safe, all of those sort of things. So this is what we should address, really, if that's the case. The root cause of the problem, not the symptoms of it. But if you are generally, if you feel that you are in a good place and you don't have so much baggage that are debilitating, maybe it's just a habit. Maybe it's just a little bit of self-critical, negative self-critics happening. And so you can address this by shifting the perspective you're going to experience that moment from yourself. And Petra, do let us know if you try this, how it went. Grind, are you still fluent in French? I do speak French, yes. I mean, it's rusty. I will always speak French, just like I will always speak Cantonese. But my Cantonese is even more rusty. It's even more basic. But French was a language that I enjoyed, and I was very proud to be able to speak it at a very high level. So just like in any countries, you have a different level of understanding the language. And but now, my understanding of the English language has surpassed my level of French because I don't speak French that much. Every now and then, like the last time I had a client that was French was last year. So I haven't spoken French in a year, but it's easy for me to get back to it. If I have to speak French, what I need to do is to spend one evening watching some movies in French, and then just like that, it's back. I forget a lot of vocabulary mainly. Um, but it's always going to be inside of me because yeah, I've spoken it for a long time at a very high level. Right, I like Sikhism and Buddhism. They are very peaceful religions. Yes, yes, there are many religions that have a lot of goodness, indeed. Foxy, so what are we chatting about? I am from the UK. Oh, talk about anything to do with mental health, with therapy, with the nature of reality, with psychology, with your internal experience, with how you can elevate your perspective of things so that you can make an easier life for yourself. Any of those things and more. So I'm a therapist. I address things like anxiety, depression, addiction, anger, low self-esteem, all of those things and more. This is what I do as a living. But I come here on my free time to talk about anything to do with all of those topics. Self-awareness, I think, is how I should um, resume the things that I talk about. I want to bring more self-awareness to people. Most people don't understand and don't realize how their mind functions. And because of that, we suffer. Because we are going to have some assumptions about ourselves and we're going to have some assumptions about others. And because of those two things, now all the problems in the world are created. If you could understand how the mind works, then everything would change. We'll be able to connect with others and we'll be able to connect with ourselves. That's what I do. Jenny, your blood pressure monitor. Are you okay? Is that a rude question? Please just ignore. No, it's fine. I'm doing a lot of tests on myself. I had a lot of very high blood pressure, like very high, and I was under the idea that because of my lifestyle, I would never have a problem with my heart. So I was wrong. We learn that sometimes, despite what you do, there are so many aspects to ourselves that, yeah. So basically, I'm learning how to learn more about myself, about my health, and and it's a beautiful thing because it allows me to put in practice some of the tools that I have on myself in regards to my very physical health. Because as far as I'm concerned, everything about my high blood pressure is not to do with my diet or my lifestyle. It's to do with some unhealed emotional wounds. And so some lingering, latent, persistent negative belief, but are still embedded somewhere within my body. And so I'm doing this work at the moment to find out where they are and what to do about them. Um, so yeah, so it's good, it's positive. So I do believe that everything that happens to us in life happens for us, if we can use it, if we can find out what it is, but it's trying to teach us about ourselves. Um, I've been through all sort of physical predicaments in the last few years since the pandemic, like quite a lot. And again, I thought that I was invincible because I lift heavy weight and I'm careful about my diet and all those things, and I practice meditation. But again, we are many things, and there are other facets of ourselves that we may not know about, like it was for me. And so I'm learning about those things, and I like it. I enjoy it. If everything was fine, I wouldn't explore those things for myself. Through the exploration of my own health, body, emotional state, mental state, I'm rekindling with my own humanity, and I believe that it's helping me not only understand more about it, but also how to help others. Um, yeah. Great. I don't believe in any dogma. Fantastic. So we are on the same wavelength, right? Donwood Land. Who is your most influential famous person, Didi? Um, the first name that came into my mind is David Bowie. I was always a musician, and I was born in 1970. So people of my age, a lot of them who went to David Bowie were really into David Bowie because he was so important, so significant in so many levels. So David Bowie is my hero. Now there's a lot of people that I follow for all sorts of different reasons. A lot of yeah, a lot of wise people, but really the figure that has helped me, inspired me the most when I needed it the most, all throughout my childhood, teenagehood, young adulthood, was always David Bowie. For me, uh, that person had a unique, exemplary, and extraordinary life, an impact on me and on so many others. Leo Luca, good day, man. Agility, emoticon is important in your psychology. Train how to develop things. Let me try to understand. Emotional agility, is that what you mean? Is important in your psychological train, how to develop. Let me try to understand. What is emotional agility? I think what you mean is emotional intelligence. If you have emotional intelligence, then you can expand your emotional flexibility or agility, right? So basically, how do we do that? We find out what emotions are about, but not from a cognitive perspective only, from a feeling perspective. You learn how to reconnect with your body, you learn how to feel all of the emotions without judging them, and recognize them, so that you are reacquainting with them. Uh, and then, as you are reacquainted with your own feelings and emotions, you can understand why others are going through that, expand your whole level of awareness um, about everything. Did you have something specific in mind when you say agility emoticon? I don't understand this. Could you clarify this for me, please? What is it that you like to develop precisely? If you could say that, tell me that, would be great. So many men don't talk about their mental health because when they were younger, they were told to man up. Yes, it's true. It's true. Absolutely. We live in a patriarchal society where we are being told boys will be boys, girls will be girls. So that means that men should behave in a certain way, and women should behave in a certain way. And everyone should be the same, otherwise there's something wrong about you. And now, when it comes to men, it's all about being strong, being successful, being brave, showing the good example, helping everyone, protecting everyone all the time. And it's exhausting, but also people are not being taught how to do that. But also, we don't have to do that. We need to realize that whether you are a man or anyone in between, we all have different qualities. And what matters is that we find our place in this society somehow. And that's enough. Uh, but because a lot of men believe that they must be a man, and because no one teaches them what it is exactly what a man is about, then they're being confused. They have problems, suffering, but they can't share it with anyone. They feel very lonely and they unalive themselves. Uh, there are twice as many men who end up unaliving themselves compared to women every year. Now, there's a very important distinction. It doesn't mean that there are more men who try to unalive themselves. It means that there are more men who succeed unaliving themselves than women. Uh, Women still suffer, they still want to. However, they have a support system that helps them. Whereas men don't have a support system because they keep everything inside. They can't share vulnerability. That's weak. That's cowardly. That's being a sissy, a wussy. Uh, because of that, they suffer indeed. So we need to change this. Leo, message retracted. Sorry, yes, emotional agility. Thanks for your answer. Okay. But what do you mean by emotional agility? Can you give me an example, please? I want to go further. I'm sure that there's more to say on that, but I need to know what you mean by emotional agility. Petra, how to inspire introvert man to talk about his feelings? Um, by being patient and by learning to listen. If someone is introvert, the first thing is so it's a man. So for him, you need to make sure that he trusts you. If someone is introvert, the biggest problem will be to trust people. They don't feel safe, right? And so if someone is introvert, accept first that they are introverts. So they speak a different language. Maybe the way they express themselves is more subtle. So pay attention to the body language, the facial expressions, the tone of the voice, obviously the things, the choice of words. But also make sure that they are feeling safe with you so that they can express themselves as loud as they can be doing it. Okay? Does it help, Petra? Vortex script. Is there one advice you'd like to give it to the younger generation if you were gonna die tomorrow? Yes. Learn about empathy and being kind. It's a skill. Learn how to be kind to yourself, and learn how to. And as you are being kind to yourself, you'll be kind to others. Learn how to be kind. That's it. We live in a society that is very cruel, that is very unkind. Everyone is nasty, and that's because the culture is designed as such. Um, And I think about it most days. I see the interactions of people on social media, the trolls who come into my place, but anyone else. People are so mean. And the reason they're mean is just because it's considered normal. They don't mean to be mean. They don't choose to be mean. It's just that their parents were mean. The teachers were mean. Their brothers and sisters were mean. Everyone they saw on television was mean. It's normal. It's accepted. And so because of that, we are mean. It's like when I say that pranks is bullying. And a lot of people, oh, it's just a joke, it's just banter. They don't realize, yes, you're going to say that because you're going to throw, your ego is going to protect your actions, but it's mean. If you say a joke that is going to hurt people, it's not a joke, it is bullying. It's not banter, it is cruel. But some people cannot recognize it because, again, they have been so programmed to accept this as a normality. And we need to realize that meanness is inherited. If we're mean, it's because we have learned it from our parents, first and foremost. And then there's society as well. Um, but it starts from our parents. If our parents were profoundly compassionate and empathetic, we wouldn't be mean, we'd be more wise from the get go. But this is extremely, extremely rare in our society because it's not the way it's designed. Culture, religion, the way everyone thinks is designed to, to be driven by cruelty. Uh, belittling the weakest ones, the easy targets. And I see it every day. Again, I was watching some pictures on Threads. Someone put a lot of pictures of people who are highly addicted, like really, really badly, like they look very different, like zombies. And everyone was laughing at them. And the joke was there was 6 pictures of 6 different people who were addicted to crack cocaine or amphetamine, methamphetamine, or any of those things. And I was like, what name would you give that band if it was a band? And everyone's like, oh, very funny, whatever. And I'm like, you don't recognize those people, they suffer, they are human beings. They never chosen to look like that and to end up like that. And now you're making fun of them because we are programmed to laugh at others and at ourselves as well. And it's just unnecessary. Um, Another example is when COVID started. I remember on Facebook there was a lot of picture of people who didn't have a mask. So they put all sorts of different apparatus to protect themselves, and they looked very ridiculous from the outside. They would put all sorts of stuff, some socks, some masks, some plastic, and everyone would be laughing at them. But the way I saw them was a bunch of people who were scared and they didn't know what to do. And it breaks my heart that people are being so mean. This is the way it goes. We're all being, and I'm sure that the majority of you even who are watching have laughed at it. And the truth is that I laughed at it as well. But then I caught myself and I thought, I don't want to be that person anymore. But my first reaction was, they're so stupid. And it's just a culture of meanness. And the world would be so different if we could teach empathy, compassion, and kindness to kids. A lot of things we can learn. We can learn about mindfulness. We can learn about a growth mindset. We can learn about emotional intelligence. We can learn about so many things. But I believe that kindness, kindness and gratitude maybe will be the most important things we should all learn and teach kids as well. What do you say, Vortex? Vortex, heart emoji. All right, thank you. But I have to say, I used to be extremely unkind. I used to be horrible. I used to laugh at the most racist jokes, the most homophobic jokes, the most misogynistic jokes, the most ableist jokes, the most derogatory, nasty, rude jokes. That makes me laugh so much, and I would share those jokes because, again, society. But then I came to a point where I realized that's not me anymore. I don't want to be that guy anymore. It doesn't work for me anymore. And then here I am, trying to impart those experiences on others, to share them. Hopefully, that will help some people. This is the point of my work. A lot of my work is to do with empathy. It's about replacing judgment with understanding. But of course, it takes a lot because we are so all conditioned to believe that some people are bad. Some people are not trying hard enough. Some people are choosing not to heal. Some people are choosing to hurt others. We're not choosing anything. No one is. Um, Foxy, I am like that. I always think why people laugh at certain stuff that is mean. I can't even laugh at videos where people fall and hurt themselves. At job, I can't watch certain stuff because it gets me too much. Okay, so you're already like that. Some of us are like that, but the vast majority of us are not. But we can all learn because I was nasty and I learned to change. I was lucky enough um, to realize that I could choose better. Petra, I am at the life crossroads. Which direction should I follow? Your whole life is going to be crossroads. So I don't know which one you are talking about, but our life is constantly, uh, every single moment you can take a choice, but it's going to change the direction of your life. Some choices seems bigger than others, such as what should I study, or should I say yes to that trip, to that job invitation, or to that relationship. But in reality, every single little choice that you make every moment is going to alter, in some capacity, the trajectory of your life and your destiny. And so you are always at the crossroad of something, right? What matters is your general direction. And so my advice to you is listen to your body. Learn how to listen to your intuition. Learn how to listen to yourself and go with the flow, as opposed to listening to the voice in your head that is telling you what to do and what not to do. Follow the direction of your heart. Follow the direction of your gut. That's what I would say. But you're raising a very good point. We're always at the crossroad of our life. There's not like one crossroad. Every moment is. It's just that some moments seem bigger than others. But when we look back with hindsight, you realize that all moments mattered, and all moments created the next moment. So it was always we're all on the continuum that started the moment we were born, even before that. Vortex, it was a nice advice. Thank you so much, Vortex. And I genuinely mean this. I don't come from a goody do-gooder perspective. Oh, I really believe that that we all suffer unnecessarily out of tradition, and we can change this. Petika, replacing judgment with understanding, very nicely said and exactly to the point. Yes, thank you. A lot of us, we judge because it's the only system we know to find some sort of meaning and illusion of control in our existence. This is why judgment exists. It was born from religion first, and now it has been absorbed by society. So either whether we're religious or not, we believe in shame, we believe in sins, we believe in some aspect of us that are bad, and it's not true. It's not like that. Um, we believe in judging others and self as ugly, stupid, lazy, weak, whatever. And we don't realize that those are just an old system that people used when they didn't understand psychology. But now that we do, we should really change everything. And we're still thinking in a medieval way. Um, the way that I see it, everyone is on the spectrum of something in some capacity. Not everyone will have a label necessarily, but if we can realize that everything about our behavior, everything about our patterns of behavior are to do with how we have adjusted to some event in our past based on XYZ, then we can understand people instead of judging them for what we see at the superficial level. Um, and that implies with ourselves as well. We judge ourselves all the time because when we are judging ourselves, we are essentially looking at ourselves from the perspective of the people who judged us when we were younger. So they are still hurting us, but we are doing this on their behalf. This is what we want to upgrade and change. We want to realize that we don't have to continue talking to ourselves in such a horrible way all the time. Because here's the thing, if we are horrible to others, it's because we're horrible to ourselves. We're projecting that voice onto others. Um, I talk about it quite often, but I used to be extremely judgmental of everyone. And that's because I've been judged a lot. And so I used to judge people all the time, every single person. That person is so stupid. That person is so ugly. That person is whatever. And that's because I was called that. I believe that about myself. And so because I didn't want to, I couldn't live with that shame. This is what we do. We repress it. And then when we see it in others, now we're going to have a go at them because we don't like it. And it's easier to address the things that we don't like in others than in ourselves. But the moment I started to heal and love myself, I get to a point where I have so much love for myself that I could not judge anyone. I was able to start to love people for their own potential and beauty because I could see the beauty in me. I could see the beauty in others because I could see the talent in me. I could see the talent in others because I could see the potential in me. I could see the potential in others. It's that simple. Wise looking tree. You don't have wisdom. When you get into your 40s, you will gain wisdom. I'm 52. I think you're a troll, right? But this doesn't make sense. It's a very silly thing to say. You don't have wisdom when you get into your 40s. Based on what you say, I believe that you must be 14 years old, maybe 12, maybe 10 years old. Right? And again, I don't want to play that game because it's not a nice game. But if we're going to play the game of age, I'm actually 56. But age doesn't make you wise. Some people who are very old are very, very unwise, and some people who are very young have a natural kindness and wisdom to them. And so, it's not age is the believing that age makes people wiser. It's a limiting belief. It's a toxic belief. It's an old belief that old people used to think, because as they get older, they had to come across with a system to get people to respect them. And a lot of cultures do that. You must respect your elderly. It's rubbish. No, you don't have to. You respect people if they are to be respected, regardless of their age. Um, Silly bitty, you wise, wise looking tree. Grind 111, maybe nine. Yes, maybe nine. Wisdom looking tree. Do your parents know about you on social media? Fizz. Experience makes wisdom, not oldness. Lol, that's pretty cynical. Um, yes, it's not just experience, it's the ability to reflect on our experiences. So a lot of people have a lot of experiences, but they don't have the ability to reflect. They don't have any self-awareness. They can't see themselves from the outside. They can only experience things from the inside out, from the ego standpoint. And so experiences are necessary, but so is a level of humility, so that we can reflect on ourselves. Uh, but again, it's quite rare, but some people who are young also can be quite wise in a very simple way, right? Some kids may appreciate, or some teenagers, some simple things and say something very simple but very beautiful in that moment. And that is wise. Well, wisdom is not a competition. Right? It's just about um, being present to express maybe uh, the purest experience of that present moment. Petika, and the path to healing is when someone gets to see through your shield and makes you feel seen and understand. Let me try again. And the path to healing is when someone gets to see through your shield and makes you feel seen and understand. I'd say the path of healing is not for when someone gets you to do anything. The path of healing is when you are able to see this of yourself. The path of healing comes from the inside out. It's just you. No one does anything to you. Right? Is it what you meant? The path to healing is when someone gets to see through your shield. It's not. The path to healing is to realize that you don't need a shield. You don't need a shield. You don't need a mask. You don't need a suit of armor. You don't need a sword. You belong. You exist. You are safe. You are connected. And you just need to choose the right environment, and that's it. Um, it's a bit confusing. Maybe that's what you meant. Um, and makes you feel seen and understand. Yes, no, the path of healing is not that some people can see you and understand. It's that you um, can see and understand yourself first and foremost. And if you can do that of yourself, then you will realize that some people can also see you and understand you, and you will just redirect yourself towards the right people for you. I hope it makes sense. Petika, does it? With was looking tree. I'm not 10 and it's not my bedtime yet. Okay. I don't know what to say. I just see a kid in my head. It's okay. If you can get anything out of that conversation, good for you. Grind. Do you know Luxembourg? I know of it. I have not been there. I don't think I've been there. But they speak French there, don't they? And Luxembourgese. I think Luxembourgish. Um, I don't think I've ever been there. I don't remember because when I was very young, my parents traveled a lot and we were with them, but I don't have a lot of recollection from my past. And so, are you from there? Grind? Foxy, why do people try to compete with you even when they're better off than you? When people compete with others, it's because they need to use others to know where they are. So basically, they need some sort of external validation for their worthiness. So what this means is that they don't believe that they're enough. They've been told that they never had unconditional love in childhood. So we've been told that in order for me to be loved, I need to do something special. I need to be the best in class. I need to win that trophy. I need to make my parents proud. I need to do something to deserve being seen, being loved, being accepted, and feeling safe with my parents. So because of that, they have kept that habit from the childhood, and now they need to constantly compete to remind themselves that they are enough. Um, People who are extremely competitive suffer from a lot of unhealed wounds. Uh, it doesn't mean that they can't be happy doing what they do, but it's born from that imbalance. Um, Now, some people are very elite in the sport or whatever they do, but they're not necessarily competitive. And that's the difference. If you, let's say, love a sport because you love the sport, this is when it's healthy. Because you love what you do, you're in the flow. This is the thing that you do that makes you the happiest. Now, on to something. But if you do it because you want to beat others, now it's going to be a vicious circle. It's going to be like the myth of Sisyphus pushing the boulder on the top of the hill, and there's always another one coming up, and it's endless. Um, and so, yes, being competitive is like people who see themselves as high achievers. It seems like a good idea, but it comes from perfectionism, from not enoughness, from a need to be loved and to be seen and to be accepted, and they feel that they have to demonstrate it all the time. So it's not a good idea in the long run. Uh, Right. Seriously, you look 33 or 34 years old. Ah, fantastic. You made my day. Thank you so much. I knew that I should have come to that live stream today. 33, 34. Ah, that's very, yeah. I actually look very old, wrinkled, but that's because I haven't been able to sleep in the last few years. So I'm dealing with that. But thank you for the kind words. It's highly appreciated by my ego. So yes, Foxy, does it help what I said about competitiveness? Great. We speak French and Luxembourgish and German, but French is the most common. Okay, okay. Was looking tree, I'm older than you. All right. Again, that tells me that you are young to say that. It's like my dad is stronger than your dad. Okay, I don't know what to say to this wise looking tree. Great. What's that blue thing around your neck? It's a 24-hour blood pressure monitor. So every half an hour, I don't feel it, but apparently every half an hour, this thing inflates and records my blood pressure over 24 hours. So that we will find out more about my heart. I'm going through sort of discovery about my heart and my health at the moment. Um, Great. What's the best way to overcome failure? Is to realize that there's no such thing as failure. Failure is an illusion. You cannot overcome an illusion. As long as you are fighting an illusion, you are essentially feeling the belief that it is true. There's no such thing as failure. Failure exists within a context only. And so, but even within that context, you can change this. So let me explain. Let's say if you want to, let's come back to the sport analogy. You're going to compete to be the best at your sport. Um, Within the frame of the competition, you can win or you can lose. You can be number one, number two, number three, or last, right? But it's still not a failure. If you call yourself a failure, then it means that it's over. You can never do it again, and this defines your whole existence. It's not true. What you can do is to realize that maybe I didn't learn this time, and it's important for me to better. And so I'm going to use this as a lesson so that I'm better the next time. And so as long as you keep going, as long as you are expanding from each experience, everything is a lesson. Therefore, nothing is a mistake, nothing is a problem, nothing is a failure. Does it make sense? Now, the other way that I address this is from a broader perspective. Um, Nothing is a failure because your whole life is an experience. We come into this life to experience the human experience. So what it means is that everything about your life is part of the experience. Whether it looks like a failure or a win, it's still part of your experience. in order to appreciate the wins, you need to fail a few times. Everything is about contrast. And so if you are going to call yourself failure or call your event a failure, you are seeing things from a very narrow-minded perspective. All you've got to do is to expand it. You can either turn it into a lesson or you can accept it as an experience of your life. And maybe it's time for you to move on. Maybe you want to try other things. Um, and so the best way to deal with failure is to stop believing that there's such thing as failure. Does it help? Grind? Leo Luca, victory begins with defeat, strategy and intelligence when you have lost your strength. So this is the sort of language that people would have within a certain mindset frame. I don't believe in victory or defeat. Again, everything is a lesson, everything is an experience, everything is part of it. However, if you come from a military strategy perspective, let me read it again. Victory begins with defeat. I'm not sure about this strategy and intelligence when you have lost your strength. I think I understand what you mean. Maybe you are saying the same thing, similar. That in order for us to appreciate victory, we need to learn from everything else. So maybe in that sense, if that's what you mean, I would agree with you. But I don't like to see things as victory or defeat, or win or lose, because I really believe that everything about life is an experience and all experiences are valid whether you win or lose. All sides of your experiences are important. It's like the yin and the yang. It takes contrast for us to appreciate the value of the good things. Petika, mindfulness was a game changer for me. Fantastic. Yes, mindfulness is one of the most important things we should all do. I was talking about kindness, but yes, mindfulness, we can be mindful of being kind, mindful of being compassionate, mindful of being patient, mindful of being empathetic. Mindfulness is focusing on something. So generally speaking, when you talk about mindfulness, we focus on this moment. We focus on the present moment, on now, here, as opposed to the past, the future. But we can also be mindful of gratitude. We can be mindful of acceptance. We can be mindful of letting go of attachment. We can be mindful of the beauty of someone, as opposed to being mindful of the things that we don't like about them. We can be mindful of the things that we have in common with that person, as opposed to being mindful of the things that we notice that are different to us. So mindfulness is just really a focus on something. Mindfulness is about learning where to direct our focus. I think it's a great definition. I will reuse that in the future. Student 2K, I find hard to move on to the next task. Like I'm learning something important right now, but also have to go shopping, but really want to learn this important topic first. So realize that your life is made of moments, and you can do everything, but only one thing within any given moment. So one moment is followed by another moment, another one, another one, another one, and so on and so forth. Your whole life is made of moments. So it's about you learning how to allocate certain tasks for certain moments. So you say, I found it hard to move on to the next task. I'm learning something, but I have to go shopping. So focus on what you can do. If you have to learn something, do your best to focus on that thing. And then next moment, go shopping. I don't understand the problem. Do you have ADHD? Do you find it difficult to focus and lock on one thing? Is that what you're saying? Do you move very quickly from one thing that you want to do to another one all the time? Is it what you meant? Listen to your body and do whatever feels easier for you in this moment, and then move on to the next thing. Unless you have ADHD or some conditions that are affecting the way your brain operates, which we can talk about. Student 2K, I'm trying to find out what is hard for you. Petika, when you are able to change your point of view, everything changes. Yes. There's a very famous quote from Wayne Dyer that goes like this. When you change the things that you look at, the things that you look at change. It's the title of one of his book, I think. I don't know where it is. I think he's got a book. I'm pretty much sure that I have it, but my place is all over the place. So yes, absolutely. Everything about our life is down to the perspective at which we look at things, the perspective at which we're looking at ourselves within that reality, that existence. This is healing, growth, personal development. Everything about ourselves is down to one principle: how we see ourselves in this life. That's it. Or in this moment, to be more precise. If we can change that, we change our experience, we change our reality. Of course, it's a process, but yeah. This is what I always say to people. Psychology is so much more simple than we think it is. It's not easy, but it's simple. Vortex script. It's a heart with a cross in it. It's like a heart from Switzerland. Is it? Gosh, it's already 46 minutes past. Petika, what was the name of the book? Could you repeat, please? Okay. I think the book is called When You Change the Way You Look at Things, the Things You Look at Change. Let me try to Google it. And it's from Wayne Dyer. Yes, when you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And that resumes pretty much everything about healing and self-growth, personal growth. Leo Lucas, message retracted. Thank you for Petika, of course. I'm glad it's 47 minutes past already. I was about to leave after half an hour today because there was not much engagement at the start of the live stream, but somehow we're there already. So I'm going to stay here another 10 minutes. If you want to ask me anything, please take advantage of this. Student 2K, I'm not sure if I'm ADHD. My difficulty is allocating time on task, but rarely being able to finish in the allocated time. Probably because mind wanders a lot and then hard to move on to the next task. Okay? So in that case, what you want to do is to learn how to understand your mind. Instead of trying to force your mind to do things that it may not be able to do, understand its limits, its preference, and organize a strategy around yourself through that understanding. A lot of us, we are being told that you should be doing this, but maybe your mind functions differently. For me to find out what it is about you, I would need to know you better because there could be millions of reasons as to why you are struggling with focus. But this is why I mentioned ADHD. Or maybe do you have any form of trauma that you may be aware of, but you have not heard? The trauma brain has a lot of overlaps with the ADHD brain when it comes to focusing on things. If your mind wanders a lot, that could be that. Again, with ADHD and trauma brain, it's not that our mind is not able to focus on something. It's that our mind feels that it should be focusing on other stuff out of urgency. So there's a part of us that is constantly scanning for emotional safety. If we're a bit stressed out, if we are in this type of discomfort, under any type of pressure. And so we think that, again, because we are living in a society that is telling us to judge ourselves, we're thinking, I'm lazy, I'm weak, there's something wrong about myself. But in fact, it could be that your brain doesn't feel safe. So it's seeking all sort of things, and little sound, little smell, little change of temperature is getting your mind to shift, to pay attention to those things And now your attention is being dragged from that topic that you want to focus on to all those other things. And that's why you find it difficult to anchor your mind onto one thing. Spiraxis, I heard you say the other day you are a wind lover? Yes. As a fellow wind enthusiast, I wanted to recommend the peaks around Ullapool, Scotland. If you ever get the chance, it's something else. Right. Yes, maybe one day. But when I talk about the wind, I'm talking about any wind, not any wind. Some winds, but I don't enjoy it that much. But I'm say that where I am, I'm happy. I don't need anything else. I'm not. I'm not searching a specific type of wind. I enjoy the wind in general, and I've been living in London for I don't know 29 years now, and I have all that I want from the wind. I'm not pursuing any specific type of winds. It's just that I appreciate the quality of the wind, bringing smell, feelings, and stories on to me. Um, yeah. But I get what you say. I mean, uh, wherever I haven't traveled for a long time, but I used to travel in the past, and when I was in other places, I would appreciate all the smell, all the sensations, all the color happening around me, and whatever the wind brings. So I understand what you're coming from, but it's not necessarily about the intensity of it. It's really about the idea that sometimes we don't need to go through life. Life comes to us. If we can be mindful, if we can be have attention in this moment, now we can realize there's a lot of things happening in this moment without us necessarily having to do anything else but to be mindful of it. So again, back onto that discussion of mindfulness. But thank you for the recommendation. If I ever end up in Scotland, Ullapool, I remember our conversation. I will make sure that I go and connect with the weather there. Jenny on the hill, do you have any nuggets of wisdom for an older woman being treated for anorexia? The man's struggle is the way it's kind of an addiction and hard to argue with. Anorexia is a very serious condition. If you have anorexia, you need to seek professional help. It's a really, really serious condition. Um, and I don't know if there's any hack or advice that I could give. I could give you some insight of anorexia. Any type of eating disorders are always connected with some emotional associations. So anorexia is quite intense. So there's got to be some trauma involved. But basically, there is a relationship that you have created with food um, that is getting you to suffer from anorexia. So you want to find out what it is. You want to find out what is the emotional connection with whatever is creating anorexia in your life. And then there's also the other factors that have aggravated it over time. So there's things get more complicated with time, but it all starts with one event, one belief, one situation that gets everything to go in that direction. And so my advice is to find out that start, where it started. Um, Again, there are tools that can get you there quicker than others. And I can only really talk about what I know. And so RTT, Rapid Transformational Therapy, is the protocol that I use. And we do that. We use hypnosis, regression to go back to the memories of your past and find out where and when you have created that belief that somehow you had to be anorexic in order to be enough, in order to be seen, in order to be safe, in order to be loved or accepted. So that would be my recommendation, understanding that there are ways, all sorts of different ways to address this, but really what you want to do is to address the core of your problem. What do you do at the moment to address this? The man's struggle is the way it's kind of an addiction. Yeah, the addiction happens at the subconscious level. So you have some subconscious uh, triggers, reactions, habits that are getting you to feel certain ways, that are going to hijack your actions because it's subconscious. So you're not aware of that. You're just doing things. You're going to go to the toilet and make yourself sick or whatever. Spiraxis, not did, but Didi, autocorrect fail. It's all right. In French, I think a lot of people used to call me Did. My real name is Didier. It's a French name. I shortened it to Didi because I've been living in the UK for a long time and no one can pronounce my name properly. People call me DJ, TJ, JJ, Deirdre. so I made it easier for everyone. I shortened it to Didi, and I've been Didi for like a long time now. It's easier. But I seem to remember some people used to call me Did as well. So it's all right. It's not a problem. Petika, thank you so much for your time. I hope everything turns well with your heart test. Thank you. I've done a lot. I've done an angio thingy. I've done an echocardiogram. I've got this. I've got another one in a week time. I don't know what it is. Another thing that lasts 24 hours. Thank you. I believe that I will always find a way to make things better. I walk a lot, so that has been one of the important things on my routine in the last few months, going out for walks, adjusting my diet as well, changing some stuff. I always used to lift a lot of weight and thought that if I use heavy stuff, that will make me invincible. And I never did any cardio. And so there you go. A bit of humility here. Yeah, sleeping as well. I've suffered from a lot of sleeping disorder because of my own things. And so this is, again, more to do with mental and emotional old stuff that I need to dig and find out about and upgrade. But the beautiful thing about myself is that I have a lot of tools that I can use on me. And so I am my own guinea pig. I always say this, I've been my own guinea pig all my life. There's no single advice that I give people, but I haven't tried on myself first and foremost. First, not foremost. I believe that it's important. And so I believe that the universe is making me experience all of those problems so that I can be better at helping others who would go through similar things, or maybe just expand my understanding of everything. We do take everything for granted, and I'm a human just like everyone else, so I do the same. So life has a way to humble you, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing. Petika, do anorexia and obesity require a different approach in treatment? Everything is different. Every case is unique. So when I address people who have eating disorders, there are some things that I need to take into mind, to take into account. I need to remember that are important to those specific conditions. But every single person is uniquely different. We are very, very, very intricate, all of us, and so we are many dimensions. We are many things. So I don't know. I'm talking about how I deal with my clients. Every single person is unique as far as I'm concerned, but some other practitioners may do things differently. We may have some system A, B, C, and everyone is the same, but I don't believe in that. I really believe that, and this is what I always say in my live streams, nothing exists just because of one reason. Everything that happens to us is always a result of many things, all aligning in this moment. So we need to find a way to have an understanding of the bigger picture as much as we can. And then create a system that is as bespoke as possible. Yes, even if I think about obesity, there are so many things that comes into it. Yeah. Jenny on the Hill. Thank you very much. I am on a list for trauma-informed counseling, so my doctor is on the right track. Fantastic. Thank you. Take care of yourself. We need you. Thank you so much, Jenny on the Hill. Okay, we are 1 minute to 8. I'm going to slowly say goodbye. If anyone says put a last comment, I will read it. But know that I am on TikTok and YouTube, and I come live on YouTube every week, every Wednesdays and every Fridays from 6 p.m. UK time. I do my best to last up till 8 o'clock, which is the case today. But if it's very quiet, um, I just finish then and I always come back some other time. So please subscribe if you enjoyed this. If you know anyone who needs some help, get them involved. Give them the link to my channel. And also, if you need some help, professional help from me as an RTT therapist, there should be a link to my website somewhere on my bio. Okay. Spiraxis, thank you for your time. Didi, have a super weekend. Same to you. Foxy, love what you do. I only have YouTube now. Got rid of everything else. Keep up the good work. Thanks. Thank you, guys. I love you all. Take care. Great day, great night to all of you. Thank you, Peter. Be kind to yourself. Be kind to others if you can. And I'll see you next. Okay. Bye-bye.